It's November 29th, 2014, and this is the fourth video that I'm making about United States government strategy to rape me from a lying down position and allow their government employees to get away with it, making it look like like I'm consenting. And so I explained that in the last clip how very real this death threat was against me. And it was drilled into me. You know, it wasn't it was constant. And you know, when you really think about where taxpayer money went, and they spent all of that time using it to formulate strategies on how they could rape me, it's kind of sickening. And at the same time that they were doing all these things to me, they were stealing from me. So I think they were looking for multiple ways to invalidate me and discredit me. I mean, aside from just making me feel trashy. I mean, it didn't make me feel good to have all of these people doing this to me. And it didn't exactly increase my, you know, even though I live in the Western United States, or live in the West, you know, i.e. the United States. And even though this is supposedly a progressive country, there are still ideas of value attached to women that go along with, you know, someone being a virgin or not having slept with a bunch of people, or if she did sleep with a bunch of people, she's a very happy person and she chose it for herself, and so therefore she's not degraded. There are a lot of still very restrained ideas from the general public and the majority of the people about what a woman who is respectable and who has good character will or will not do. And someone's esteem or value placed on a woman can definitely be diminish if she is portrayed as being, you know, a prostitute, you know, and all of those ideas of, or sleeping around with someone, you know, or being a liar, saying that someone raped her when really no one raped her. All of those ideas can be used against a woman or a man. And, you know, it also makes someone look very dirty. It looks like, you know, after so many people have supposedly done such a thing, a lot of people don't want to talk about it because they know that it makes them sound really dirty, you know, even if they didn't want those things to happen. It's not something that's dignified, and it's not dignified to even discuss. Nobody gains additional respect for discussing how many different men have so many times raping her. The same thing with men, you know. So anyway, they were threatening me, just like with the other situations with that I could get killed one of the times that I tried to refuse and not just tortured. So then basically the other individuals who were, I mentioned a couple of relatives, and then there were some Wenatchee people involved in that in Washington State. There were also individuals involved at my grandparents' house. And a whole bunch of different people went over to my grandparents' house in Kashmir, Washington to take turns lying on top of me, using their full weight against me, and attempting to kiss me, or some of them not kissing me. And if I tried to refuse, they do it repeatedly with different men. And if I attempted to get away or screamed or pushed them off or anything like that, they beat me. And they were doing that right upstairs in my grandparents' house. What people were doing downstairs, I'm not sure. But all I know is that I was being forced to lay down on the carpet in the upstairs of that house while men came up, and they went up in twos. A couple times they were 3 of them all at the same time, but most of the time at least 2 men. And on occasion it was just 1, but that was rarer. So these men that were coming upstairs and lying on top of me and using their body weight and the weight of their legs to push down on me and to hold me down, indicating I was supposed to lie still while they laid on top of me and unzipped their pants, were military. There were Jewish people involved, and I thought that was really strange how many Jews were involved in that. One was Ben Affleck, and Matt Damon, who is his friend, has been his friend for a long time, actually showed up at my grandparents' house one time to do something regarding a deal of some sort, but I don't remember him lying down on top of me specifically. I remember that he was either taking money, or he was taking something from them, or giving information of some kind, something to do with the government. So there were also lawyers that were showing up to do this, and cops, lots of cops. And FBI. Another person that was involved in all of that, this rape training, was Rick Bacon and his dad. And I remember his dad actually more than even I remember Rick. But both of them were involved. And they are FBI. They've already been confirmed as working for the FBI. So when I say that these were government people, but it's not like I just had an imagination and I imagined, oh, they're all from the government. Or some of these people were telling me they were from the government when they weren't. They were really from the government, most of them. And if they were not working directly for the government, they were sometimes celebrities and other individuals that worked on a side basis for the government. And they were getting a lot of pig money out of it. Pork money and bonus money. Money was exchanging hands all the time. So I was in one situation, it was like a week, or several days to a week. I was being taken upstairs, forced to lie on this carpet as a group of maybe 20 to 30 men came in and took turns lying down on top of me and practicing torturing me or cutting me with a knife if I tried to resist them. Some of them beat me up worse than others. Others did not beat me up because I didn't resist as much, or they chose not to beat me up as much. Not all of them actually penetrated me or did something like that, but they practiced lying down on top of me and forced me to not do anything or try to get away. And all of them in that position, they were most of them were unzipping their pants. So I could always hear the sound of a zipper, which scared me, because a lot of them, not all, but a lot of them would then penetrate me with something, but I wasn't, or touch me in a way that I didn't want to be touched. And then if I resisted, I was beat up. So when I say beat up, I mean I was punched in the face. I was really punched hard in the stomach many times. I mean, I'm sure that I have internal damage to my stomach just because of how many times I got punched. It wasn't like they were holding back because I was a kid. Some of the times that I got punched hard. They were punching me like I was their opponent in a boxing ring. They went for my gut and knocked me onto the ground to the point where I couldn't breathe. And I couldn't move. And then if I tried to get up, they'd trip me and have me fall on my face. So this is all when I was a kid. And all of this was to get me to quit resisting being raped. And so finally, when they obtained with all of what was going on in England, because that did happen in England too, they and actually I do remember there was more than just Charles involved. Charles cut me, but I don't remember that he beat me in that situation. There were some of his other buddies or British government people that beat me. And I'm remembering that now that I mentioned beatings. So they practiced lying down on top of me, and then they tried to beat me up if I tried to resist. So then later, and as for cues or triggers for that, they didn't give, I don't remember that there was a specific verbal cue to that. It was just that it was a position that if I was being lied down on top, if I was lying down and someone was on top of me, and if they there may have been a verbal cue, but if so, it's not coming to mind right at this moment, and I may remember it later. But it was more like if they were lying down on top of me and using the weight of especially their thighs to press down on me, and then and showed me a knife. It had to do with knives mostly, not guns as much. But then if they showed me a knife, then it indicated, and they followed through with cutting me several times, and then beating me up on top. In addition to that, so I was getting trained to have a response to not do anything out of fear that they were going to kill me, like slash my throat with this knife. And a few times they held me up after beating me, and they'd have one guy hold me, and then the other one put his arm around me and put the knife right to my throat, and I could feel the blade, and they'd have the knife blade at my throat, and a couple times they did this when I was lying down, but other times they just beat me up and then made me stand later and put the knife to my throat. And they'd start digging the knife in a little bit and saying, "Do you want to die? Because one of these times someone's going to kill you if you try to fight this." So they were basically giving themselves and a bunch of their employees great opportunities to rape me, whenever they wanted. And then what happened is, when I was in college, the government tried that out on me. Later, when I was in college with the son and friend of some of these same people who were practicing this against me, his name is Josh Gatoff, he's Jewish, and he took me to his house, and I thought, I had worked with him a little bit, so I didn't think he was going to do anything to harm me, because I thought I'd established some sort of a base relationship with him on a certain level, and you just don't think someone's going to try something like that. And he picked up he had a couple of knives, and I've gone into detail about exactly the order of events and what happened in that situation before trying to make a police report, which went nowhere because police have been involved. But he, and I'm almost out of time on this, so I'm going to have to explain in the next one.